Everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I am so happy to have you here today. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make your very own gabled box. Now before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. Now you're only going to need a few supplies for this box, so it's probably going to be stuff you already have on hand. You're of course going to need some cardstock in any pattern, color, and thickness of your choice. I will also recommend having some sort of glue or tape, whichever you prefer. I used Elmer's glue on this, but you can use double-sided tape, you can use E6000, whatever kind of glue you like to use will work for this. And then of course you're going to need your Cricut. Now I do also recommend having a scoring stylus or the scoring wheel, but you can also score with your Cricut Joy if you need to using the foil tool, and I'll link that tutorial down below in case you want to make these with your Joy machines. This is actually a lot easier than you think, and I can't wait to walk you through all the steps. So without further ado, let's get started. I've been wanting to do a gable box for a while here on Cricut Design Space. Now, listen, do I know how to design that? No, I certainly don't. But I'm going to link the template that I'm going to use down below, and I'll link a couple others just in case you don't have Creative Fabrica. But it's actually really easy, even though it looks super confusing. So I want to show you how to do this because when you get the templates, sometimes they're not always like set up amazingly because of the way Design Space works with other vector programs. So what we'll do is we're going to upload our image, and I'm going to click on upload image, and I'm going to drag and drop it. I want to use the SVG for the large gable box, and I'm going to go ahead and drop it. Now you'll see that you've got lines, you've got the box, and there are two sides. Don't worry, this is really easy once you know how to do this. So what I'm going to do is click continue. Because this is an SVG, I don't really have to do anything. I just click upload, and it's going to put it into my Cricut Design Space. Now, first off, this is too big to cut on like traditional sized cardstock. I'm going to be using 12 by 12 sheets, so I do need to size this down. But I'm going to size it down quite a bit right now, just so that we can see the entire image, and I can show you how we need to set this up first. So I'll move it a little closer over to the layers panel as well, so that you can kind of see everything a little closer together. Now, right here is obviously our design, and it looks like it's ready to go, but I'm going to hit make really quick so that you can see what it looks like if I don't do anything. First off, you're going to notice you have a ton of lines on this black mat, and then you have your cuttable parts and some lines over here on the orange. And this is why we need to do some fixing to this. But again, this is really just because of Cricut Design Space. So what I'm going to do is, you'll notice here we have this layer in our panel, and this is grouped. So hit this arrow and it will bring down your layers. But you're going to see you have an additional group under that group, plus a whole bunch of other groups down here. There are just a bunch of different pieces and parts. Now, in order to work with this, we are going to need to ungroup our entire design. So I'm going to go up here to these little squares and click ungroup. Now you're going to notice you still have groups. You still have groups within groups within groups. So every group you have is going to have to be ungrouped because of the way Design Space is designed. And you'll notice that you have so many smaller groups inside of other groups. Now, I would not have set the SVG up this way if I was the one who designed it. All the lines would have been one group, and then all the lines would have been another. Now, I am going to teach you a quick little trick. These are actually identical to each other. So rather than having to work with all of these pieces and parts, I'm going to select one of these boxes, and I want to get rid of it. But you're going to notice still that it's going to select all of them because we have all these groups. So I need to go through and ungroup every single little group that is grouped together. And let me tell you, this is going to take a hot minute. So you just want to sit here and just find every group, every little arrow, pull it down. Once you don't see any other arrows under it, just ungroup. So I'm going to do that for each of these designs, and I'm just going to ungroup. I have to do it to everything in order to do the next step where I'm going to delete one of them, just so that it's easier to work with, because we can just duplicate that box. They're identical, so we don't have to worry about it. But having so many groups can be really a pain, and I'm going to have to sit here and ungroup all of these. So let me go ahead, finish ungrouping everything, and then we will show you our next step. So how do you know that you've ungrouped everything? I want to show you really quick just so that you can see. When you look at your layers panel, remember we had all those little arrows pointing down? Now we don't have any of those little arrows. So by removing all of those small arrows, it allows us to work with our design. Now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this second box. We don't need it. We will just duplicate the first box. It's just going to make it a lot easier for us when we go to create this. Now you're going to see that you have all the lines, and these are all our score lines. The first thing that I'm going to do in order to make this easier is I'm going to hide the large gable box basic cut. So this orange layer. Now all we're left with are these lines. Now you can see that it looks like there's a ton of lines. It's because they have like little pieces and corners, all sorts of stuff. But we want to make sure we just keep all of those lines. That's totally fine the way that they are, no big deal. I want you to select all of the lines, and I want you to go down and I want you to attach them. Then what you want to do is you're going to change your operation from basic cut to score. These are going to be what helps you fold your box. Now we can bring our box back in, and now you'll see you have your score lines for all the spots that we need to score. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab the box and the line. So grab everything on your screen and click attach. That's going to tell Design Space to keep the score lines lined up with your box. Now from here, we can size this before we duplicate this, and I'll show you 2 ways to duplicate as well. But I want to make this box as big as I can so that you guys can really get a good look. So I know that I can cut as wide as 11.5 inches on my 12 by 12 cardstock. This is going to take 2 pieces of cardstock, because you have 2 separate sides which you will attach together to create this box. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm just going to save this as box, template, and click save. Now, one way that you can create both sides that you need to is to use the duplicate option here, and that'll give you your 2 sides of your box. There is, however, another option that sometimes works a little bit better with Design Space when you have a lot of lines and things like this one has. So I'm going to click Make, and you'll see that I have 1 box. Now I can simply just cut this twice. I can just load 2 mats in and have it cut this twice. But if for some reason my brain isn't going to remember that I need 2, I can just go to Project Copies, click Apply, and now I have 2 mats. But let's say, okay, you know what? I actually need to make 8 of these boxes, which means I need 16 sides. I can tell it that I need 16 copies of this, and I've got all my mats lined up here, all 16 that I need. The nice thing about this too is even though it's showing all as the same color mat, if I want to make multi-colored boxes, so I want to use different colors for each of my boxes, I can just use 2 sheets per color to create the box side, like template, cut it out, and then I can assemble them all by color. Now for this one, I really only need 2, so I can just change that back and click Apply. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to the Cricut. We're ready to cut out our cardstock and score it. So scoring comes first, but first I'm going to put my cardstock on to my mat. I'm using a light grip mat here, and I'm just going to get this pushed down onto that, and now we need to change out our tool. Now because we're using the Maker, we can use the scoring wheel, but if you're using an Explorer, you need an scoring stylus, and like I said, with the Joy, you can use your foil tool. It's super helpful. I'm gonna get that installed. You just line up the gold gears, very easy to do. And then I'm gonna go ahead, load my mat, and it will score first. And because I have the Maker, it's gonna take a second, and it's gonna put the tool over here on the side, make sure I have the right tool connected, and then it'll score, and then I have to change it back out for the fine point blade. Now that the little C is flashing, that means we need to change our tool out for our fine point blade. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And then you just hit the C again. This time it's gonna cut. Now that it's done, go ahead and unload, and then you can take your design off of your mat, and I flip my mat over. Now I'm gonna cut the second side. It's gonna do the exact same, and then I'm gonna show you how to assemble. I have both sides of our box. Now I know it looks a little bit confusing because you're like, wait, they're the same side. What I want you to do is take one of them and flip them over, and it will make a little more sense, because what you're going to do is you're going to glue this tab to this side of the box, and then when you get it all kind of folded over, it makes a box. The first thing I recommend doing is folding your, not dropping that, folding all of where your tabs are. Now they are a little hard to see, I will be honest. My scoring wheel didn't do like the most amazing job, but this is also this cardstock. It's a little bit hard to see this color. I should have probably used a darker color. But what you'll do once you find them, which I just did, is you're gonna fold your box, and for this side, I'm gonna fold it in. So I'm gonna fold it so that the tab is on this side. Let me grab my bone folder, because that's gonna help me get a much better like straight line fold. And all a bone folder is it's just this little white stick, but it helps you get like a much smoother fold. So I'm gonna fold that, and this is gonna be like your inside flap, so like it'll fold like that. Then I'm gonna take this side and I'm gonna fold this one over. And again, I'm just gonna give it a really nice crease. And then I'm gonna take this and fold it up. And again, a nice crease. And then we'll get this tab right here. And this tab is gonna go in as well, because that's gonna glue to the other side of the box. So can you kind of start to get a visual of the box now? Like it's going to be two sides that look like this. And then this part up here will fold this direction so that you can put it into this little tab. Now this does have some score lines on it. Again, it's so hard to see them on here. But I do have some score lines, and I am going to fold them while the box is not assembled. I'm just having a really hard time seeing them. I don't know if it's this color. I think it is. I think this color cardstock's just really hard to see. But when you fold these, you'll fold them like in. And honestly, this has a fold as well, so you'll want to fold that. And then you should have another fold. One more place, I think. Again, I'm really having a time. Nope, that's the only one. Okay. And then I want to fold this one in too, because this is going to have a fold on it as well. It's just going to help it bend better. So now that I've got all those folded, we're gonna do this one. Now remember, this one's opposite. You're gonna fold this one the same direction for the same side. It's gonna look a little crazy, but it will all fold together when you see it, because it's going to go like this to your box. I keep knocking that darn glue over. I'm ready to like scream at it. It's not the glue's fault. But I'm gonna go ahead again, just get all these folded, and then I'll show you how we put it together. Now, I'm gonna be using some craft bond glue from Elmer's. I would probably recommend you use a little bit of a thicker glue or a double-sided tape. However, my double-sided tape is currently missing and I can't find it, and I don't have time to go buy any. So y'all are getting glue. But I would recommend a double-sided tape. I actually really like the Target's double-sided tape. It's really nice and really inexpensive. Scotch Brand also has a double-sided tape. A little more pricey, but also pretty nice tape. I'll link some of my tapes and my glue suggestions down below for you. Let me go ahead and finish folding this, and I'll show you how to assemble. Now, everything is folded, you can see. So what you're going to do is you're going to take and use your glue, and I want you to take this tab right here, and you're going to put the glue on the outside edge of it. Again, if you have double-sided tape, please use that instead. It will work much better than glue, but again, we ain't going to search for it. So we're going to line this up, and kind of the nice thing about using this glue is that if I mess this up, I can move it around. But your tab will line up beautifully with the edges of your box. And then I want you to press this down. I'm just gonna make sure that that's well held together. Now, your box is going to kind of fold in on itself like so. So you've got these flaps here. What I recommend doing is making sure that these inner flaps, these like small ones, are on the inside. So for that, what I like to do is I'm going to take glue, again, my handy dandy glue stick, or in your case, double-sided tape, and I'm just going to cover the flap in the double-sided, or the glue, or the double-sided tape. And then we're going to get the other flap. This is getting a little bit long because it is 2 pieces of cardstock, and I just want to make sure that I cover this pretty well, because since I'm using glue, it's not going to have quite as much hold. So then when you fold this, what you'll do is you'll fold the flap down, and you're going to line it up with the edge of this flap. And then you'll do the same thing here. You're going to kind of line them up. And you're going to get those as straight as you can. Those were not straight. Sometimes setting it down on your table actually makes it a little easier to get it straight. And then you'll take that other flap, and I know these are like so in the way of you guys seeing what I'm doing. Let me fold those back out. So I kind of get it so that they're like this. So everything's into side of itself. And I want to make sure that this flap is kind of folded in as well. I'm sorry if this is like chaos. It's just, everything slides around on the tables, so it does make it a little more difficult. And then I come in here and I'm just going to press this down. Now I do need to get glue onto this flappy dappy here, and I'm going to do that really quick. And that will complete our box. Now I am going to let it sit to the side before I like show you guys how to fold it together, because I do want the glue to have a few minutes to dry. Because like I said, this is probably not the ideal box solution as far as glue, but double-sided tape really is going to be your best friend. And then if you can put a little bit of tape along this seam right here, it will do you a lot of favors, because it's going to hold so much better, especially if you're going to put anything with like literally any weight in it. I would recommend a double-sided tape, because you can see like how much I'm struggling here with this kind of coming apart. It's because the glue just doesn't like hold amazing. I'm gonna put some heavy stuff inside this box, like just to hold like the flaps down while it's drying, which is gonna be like my card case and my camera, and then that should hold the flaps down long enough for them to dry, and then we'll have a box. But I'm just gonna slide this out of the way for now, and then I'll come back and show you how you fold it together. So we have our box all finished, all glued together, ready to go. So folding these is really, really simple. All you do is you can take your 2 handles, these 2 parts, place them together. Then I kind of line them up, and I give them just not even a fold, I just kind of hold them together. And then I take one side, and you're gonna put it into this little tab here, and it has these little kind of pointed tabs. And then you'll go over to the other side, line these up, place the tabs in there, and then voila, your box is all together. This is super easy to do. You can use heavy cardstock, use whatever you want to use for these, but it's really, really easy to make. I hope you picked up some fun tips and tricks to making a box with your Cricut. Now, as I said before, you can definitely do this with any of your machines, but with the Cricut Joy, you'll need to use some tricks to doing scoring, which I will link down below for you, because it is super handy to know how to do that. These boxes are really easy, especially if you have a template to create them, and I'll link a couple down below that you can check out and try out for yourself. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me, and happy crafting.